Hey there, everybody. Welcome. Um, I wanted to bring just a general informative video out to you all regarding this idea of triangulation. In my practice, I've been having a handful of conversations around this stuff, and with the pandemic and everything, there's been more relationship distress happening. Understandably so. We're kind of locked in the same room with the same people for a long period of time. Guess what's going to happen, right? We're going to have more arguments, we're going to have more disputes because we're different people, right? And that's a good thing, believe it or not. However, when we have more of these arguments and more of this distress that's coming from the relationship, it can feel very real. It can feel very difficult and debilitating at times. And so the conversation that I've been having with people is just one of many. And I just want to bring this topic up. Here you see the definition of when you just Google triangulation. And there's only 3 definitions here, and none of which are regarding psychology. Right? They're about understanding distances and geometry and things that I do not know too much about. Right? And so with this being so hidden within the definition, I kind of want to talk more about it. So triangulation is what happens when we have a relationship, right, which requires 2 people, and when these 2 people are getting into any type of dispute, argument, when somebody feels like they're hurt in some way, shape, or form, right? That is when people are more likely to seek help and guidance and support and validation and the I'm not crazy, right, from another person. This other person could be a family member, friend, doesn't really matter. It's just another person, right, where you go and bitch about, oh my gosh, you couldn't believe what so-and-so said or what so-and-so did, or I'm just so sick of when, right, this happens. Right? I hope this sounds familiar because this is something that happens in all relationships, right? Is that we can get frustrated, we can get upset, and that's okay. That's okay. Now, going to the third person, whoever that is, isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Other people around you, we want you to get support from people that are within your life. And that's a very useful tool in all of our toolboxes. And at the same time, it becomes problematic if we don't use what we learn in those conversations with that third person inside of the relationship that was the initial reason of reaching out to the friend or family member in the first place, right? So, right, simple, straightforward, literally just Google the triangle, right? We're going to use this idea to help you understand, am I triangulating? Am I not? Because if you are, it can create a lot of emotional distress internally and within the relationship, right? So we want to try to prevent where we can. And I hope that that's where this video really lands for all of you. Right? We're going to try to just bring awareness to this is a thing that happens. Am I doing it? Yes, no, maybe. And how can we move forward with it? So, right, we're just going to look at this big green triangle over here. And what this is telling, or what this is going to show us is just, this is going to be person A, right? You, perhaps. This is going to be person B, right? And this other person up here is just going to be that other person that you might talk to, right? Person C. So, right, A over here, B over here, C up here. So, person A is having a lot of emotional distress within the relationship, right? They're not doing the dishes, they're not showing support, they're not helping me, they're not validating me, or even worse, right? They are calling me names, or they're really degrading me, or like they keep calling me crazy, right? Oh, heavy, very, very destructive things that can be happening in any type of relationship. Now, your or person A, right, is going to be having a lot of distress within this relationship. Natural, understandable. If you end up going to person C, whoever that might be, you're going to tell them all of these things, which will, one, just through catharsis, the act of talking through your problems, you're going to have a reduced amount of distress. Yay, good, that's what we want, right? But also, right, person C can be giving you advice, They can be giving you validation, right? They can just be giving you that support for that catharsis. Right? All of these things can help lower your amount of felt distress more and more and more. Now, so far this sounds pretty good, right? And it is, right? Now, triangulation happens when it stops there. When person A does nothing else, right? All of a sudden, the relationship is still going to create the distress for person A, and then person A is going to feel like they need to go to that third party all the time, right? Because they need to reduce that amount of distress, right? It's not too far away from having a lot of work stress, going out for a break, and having a cigarette, right? It's kind of the same process. You get an initial sense of relief, and it feels good for the moment, right? But just like smoking, triangulation can continue the problem or even make it worse, right? So, how we move forward with this idea. If you're noticing that you or other people around you might be triangulating, right? It's not really your responsibility to call out other people unless you feel as if it is, right? It's always a choice that you have. But if you feel like you are, all you have to do is bring in this conversation. So yours, person A, and person C's conversation to your relationship between yourself or person A, right, or and person B, right? Bring what you learned from that conversation. Hey, I really need validation because that really helps when I talk to so and so, right? Can we really try to work on validating each other when I'm distressed or when you're in pain or whatever the case might be? Can we work on that together, right? Or we problem solved over here, and I want to bring these problem solving options to our relationship. This is kind of what the conversation sounded like. We could, right, A, B, C, right? Or do you have any other options, right? Have it a conversation. All arguments can be solved within a logical mindset, living by who you want to be, right? And trying to problem solve within that situation, right? And it might end up being, well, this is, right, my value, this is your value, and there's going to be a conflict. That's the hardest ones, right? But it can happen, right? Bring in all of what you can to your current relationship because nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And so advocate for yourself, advocate for what you feel like you need, and name some of the things that you find that might be really hurtful for you or very invalidating or just maybe outright rude depending on the person, right? Bring it to the relationship and hopefully, right, you won't get a defensive reaction, right? Now, if you do, right, that means that we still need to connect. That means that we still need trust to be continued to be built within the relationship so we can have these conversations without assuming that we're going to be hurting each other throughout this type of conversation, right? And if you're noticing yourself in that mode, I think that's a pretty good indicator that that third party therapist person can kind of help you through building that trust and through these types of conversations, right? So that's one warning sign there. Another way that we can go about this is by understanding that both people, you or person A and person B, are going to be okay. We just need to join and connect. In any argument, we need to join and connect, right? Hopefully you can get a lot of your needs met by being able to just do that, right? We join and connect through, again, I keep saying this, but validation, statements, right? I am feeling this, right? This is why. And then the other person says, I can completely understand how you are feeling this because of that reason. And here's what I'm experiencing, right? Very formulaic, but it works. So I'm going to pause it there. I could go into a whole bunch of different conversations. My mind is already going. But I just wanted this video to be an awareness video of triangulation. Be careful for it because it can really, really damage yourself, those around you, and relationships. So if you're noticing this within your life, try to take action if you can. Otherwise, seek help. I currently have a handful of availabilities. Um, you can see my website in the description below. Hop on if you want to have a consult and continuing sessions too. See if we're a good fit or not. So I do hope all is well. Continue to be your best self, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye.